Do you think that's a joke? No, ladies and gentlemen, this is my best PvE single and mob destroyer build. This is a really salty build, over 180k of damage in 10 second overtime, and that can really high burst up for single target and bosses. And this DK have 10 of 12 dot skills, 4900 of weapon damage, 54% of crit with the whole set, insane poisons and diseases damage. I test it over and over again. This is the best PvE sets which I find. First you're gonna look the stats on the main bar. So I have 3500 of weapon damage with 44% of crit. And I have first to boost up with Ignis Shield the weapon damage. And then also with the glyph I reach a 4900 of weapon damage with 54% of crit. I have a 36k of stamina with just 800 of recovery, but I don't need the recovery because I run the Vicious Ophidian, which sustain this DPS perfectly. The stats on the back bar, same stamina, same recovery with 3000 of weapon damage, 66% of crit because the bow crits every time. I got max health and max stamina. There you could use also the cannon throw if you feel that you have a little bit less of recovery. Minor Slayer, 5% more damage on the mobs and all bosses. The Shadow, which boosts a 13% my whole crit damage. And the Vampire stage 1, so I cannot be one-shotted by mechanics. Then like food and pots, I use the Bloody Mary for keep up the level 1. And there you could use also Cannon Throne, but I go with max stats because I feel that the Vicious Ophidian gives me back by every mob 2100 of stamina, so I can run this max stats, which hurts up then a little bit more. Essence of weapon power, 47 second, more brutality, more crit, stamina and stamina recovery the whole time. Then the main set is Vicious Ophidian. I need a one-handed Nirnhonet with poison damage. You could use also a sword for 2.5% more damage. And the bow on the back bar in poison damage. And precise, this endless hail crit every time. With the jacket. And then all jewelry, weapon damage, and in robust makes then 5. I have this on both bar, gives crit. 5% more damage in trial versus bosses and mobs. Again crit, weapon damage and 8% stamina cost, all less. When you kill 2100 of stamina back and you have more movement speed, over 20 seconds, 30%. That's insane. So sustain perfect. The second set are Huntington's Rage. I use Huntington's Rage with infuse it with the weapon damage glyph, 452 over 5 seconds. I reapply that pretty much all 10 seconds, forgot this boost. And you could use also Nirnhonet, but that pushes just a small 50 points, just more DPS, so makes more sense to use infuse it on the back bar. I completed with the Belf, all in divines and maximum stamina, hands and legs, same thing. And the feats. Then we have 800 weapon crit, stamina, weapon crit, and 300 of weapon damage, which increases your whole poison damage. The Huntington's Rage boost also my poison and diseases damage. This is the reason, and is a little bit better on this build like the Automaton. Yes, Automaton makes more weapon damage, but on this build not as DK. With the Vicious Ophidian, which sustains perfectly. Makes really high damage together with Huntington's Rage, and the monster set, which I chose it because the first rate gives you 129 of weapon damage. The Valley Dread, I don't know why people don't like that. That procs the whole time and is AoE with diseases damage every 9 seconds. Procs that really every 9 seconds, and is a huge bunch with your whole damage over time. That gives the punch out for killing them even faster. 2 infused stamina, heavy, 2 heavy and 5 medium wearing. Yeah, and all in the vines for push up. Then the shadow, if I run all in the vines, the shadow is boosted up by 13%. And I wearing 6 in the vines because the 7th of the vines will not push up your shadow to a 14%. So if I slot, you see I slot now 7 divines on me, and if you're gonna look on the shadow, it's still 13%, so makes not sense to put the helmet in divines, put the helmet in infuse it, so you got much more stamina out there. You see, same, if I put infuse it is same 13%. Yeah, 2 heavy and 5 medium. Skills on the main bar. This is one of the heaviest poison damage over time skill, so makes 18, sometimes when I boost up it damage over 20k of weapon damage. That's your first dot which you put on to pressure your enemy, and crits always for 7k. Then the second dot, same time, over 10 seconds, gives major breach, so he reduces the physical resistances. Yes, Shadow Silk are the key of this build. This skill are insane. Every 5 seconds you crit over 18k of damage. Every 5 seconds. It's a little bit like the Sorcerer. You have also these Deadrick explosions, but this is poison, and is a synergize. When they press the synergy, do Spider will come out, bites and crits over 5k every bite, and 34k of poison damage over 10 seconds. And sneers also, when you put that on your enemy, sneers them there, and with the whole dots, and together you can perfectly burst up and calculate the DPS on 1 point. Yes. Then Blood Grace goes through shields, bleed damage 14k over time, and heals me also up for 1300 every 2 seconds. This is like the Bloodthirst. Both skills are your DPS and heals. That can really crit high, 12k every 0.6 seconds, and the ulti, Dawnbreaker of Smiting, which can really crit good and makes a huge damage over time, and while slotted I gain a 5% of additional weapon damage on this main DPS bar. Back bar, a Volantine armor for your resistances over 20 seconds, 5280, and makes a magic damage over time, which is can procs all valid ref. Every skill can procs valid ref, like light and heavy attacks too. And yeah, the rearming trap, because boost you trap him there, makes damage over time, and you boost your critical damage by a 10%. So if I got the shadow, we already got 23% when he's trapped inside, plus my passives another 20%. These are pretty much needed for the VMA, for trap single mobs. And yeah, let's see, in precise strike, so we got a total of 43% on critical damage. This is the reason why I'm running the shadow together for single target or bosses are huge, insane DPS. Endless Hail, this is the best damage over time, 1479 of physical weapon damage every 0.5 seconds, so for a long time. 10 seconds makes a huge damage. Procs also valid ref, and together with Steel Tornado I will say the best DPS dots skills. Yeah. We have then Ignis Shield, which boosts up your weapon damage 7 seconds, a little bit more weapon damage, makes you healing by your Blood Grace and Bloodthirst better by 25%, and gives you also every time back stamina So a 990 of stamina every time when I press this, plus this shield, which are for you and you Alice. Awesome skill, Ignis shield, really love it. Yeah, cool. We have the venomous armor. This thing is next poison skill over 10 seconds. All you reapply every 10 seconds on your main and back bar, and you interrupt and set them off balance, which increases then again a 10% of weapon damage on all abilities and dots over time, and stun them for 3 seconds. This is really functional for interrupt mechanic bosses, for yeah, set them off balanced, and so finally make more damage, and it's a huge damage over time. The toxic barrage, when you press that, 47k of poison damage for second, and poison damage over time. When that is boosted up, I think 35k of poison damage over 8 seconds, together with your spider by the untaunted metal passive skill, the shadow silk, you can really high burst up. I had 180k of damage over 10 seconds with all that skills, which fits all perfectly together. And yeah, that can all crit. And now you see 8 second huge poison damage. If you right combo that with all your 10 dots over time, which are 6 poison damage over time, you can really high burst up. Let's make that quick. 37 for break free sprinter, 35 immune calf with 0 because Wishes of Fate sustain my stamina all, so I just spam abilities for kill as fast as possible. Tumbling 20, then Master of Arm for your ability 20%, then Thaumaturge 20%, because there you see you have 10 of 12 possible dots over time, so makes sense to boost up in Thaumaturge a lot. But then I have Imprecise Strike again at 20%, plus the Shadow, and the trap makes 43%, 12% in Mighty, because off balanced by your arrow on the back bar at 10% again, 50% already on crit. This is huge damage, and all that for Unchained I need, and 20% from a light and heavy reduces the damage incoming by bosses, which is also pretty good. And let's make a little bit the rotation of this damage over time. Very Dread really procs often, and then you remake that rotations. You can swap instead of the Shadow Silk, you Steel Tornado, which execute them also, and Steel Tornado together with Endless Hail and the trap inside. Huge damage. And yeah, I pretty recommend it.